Hello, everybody. So nice to see you all. I am Julia Holian, and my colleague Liz Helton is here today as well. She's going to be leading today's session. This is Just Ask Julia, and we run this meeting the first Friday of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific. And this is an opportunity for us to just give back and share information about how you can advance your career and then give you an opportunity to ask questions. So as I said, my colleague Liz Helton is here. She is going to be leading today's meeting. So I'm just going to turn it over to her and sit back and enjoy everything that she has to share today about AI. So take it away, Liz.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Liz Helton, and this is our monthly Just Ask Julia session presented by Career Transformation Partners. If you are watching us live today, at the end of our session, we are going to have time for questions, discussion around all topics around AI, as well as other career development issues that you might be facing in your day-to-day life. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment or check out the link below to sign up for a future Just Ask Julia session so you can see all the subjects that we cover on the first Friday of every single month, when we're providing insight for you on tactical resources to help you advance your career. This month, we are talking about leveraging AI in your job search because as almost everybody in this room has probably seen, AI isn't going anywhere. It hopped onto the scene around the end of 2022, start of 2023, and exploded. It's been a while since we've had something in the tech world explode to this caliber so quickly and so fast. And it's raising a ton of questions and changing the way that businesses operate and the way that we work just in our day-to-day lives. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, is AI going to steal my job? Is AI taking over? Believe me, Julia and I have asked ourselves the same questions. But at the end of the day, we truly believe that AI is not going to take over our day-to-day jobs. However, it's going to help enhance them. And it can actually help really improve the way that we're working. And as job seekers, it can really create some efficiencies and help you go a little bit deeper into the research and the work that you're doing to try and advance your career and take that next step. So as we go through today, we're going to be talking through some platforms to be on the lookout for, some resources for you to use with AI, some different tips and tricks for how you can leverage AI within your job search, of course, and then prompts and ways that you can actually make your AI experience better. So let's get started. First and foremost, let's talk about some of our favorite AI tools because there is more than one out there. Of course, we have to first and foremost talk about the granddaddy of them all, ChatGPT. If you haven't checked out ChatGPT yet, that is your absolute first homework assignment because ChatGPT is probably the most comprehensive and robust of the generative AI platforms right now. Its real strong suit is going to be in the breadth of information that it can provide. It doesn't do the imaging. We're going to get to some resources for that in a minute, but it does have probably the most robust pool of information that it is taking from and learning from, because it was the first on the scene. That being said, Google Gemini launched in December of last year. So it is brand spanking new, and already in testing it out, I am seeing how this is going to really change the game in the day-to-day use of generative AI. The biggest difference between Google Gemini and ChatGPT is that ChatGPT is pulling from kind of its own warehouse, if you will, of information that is being input. So when you put information into ChatGPT and Gemini, it's going to store that information and learn from it. Right. With Google Gemini, it's doing that, but it's also pulling from the internet as well. It's combing through the internet in real time. ChatGPT right now, version 3.5, which you're using, if you're using the free version, is really pulling from information that kind of stops at April of 22. I believe maybe November of 22. Sorry, excuse me. And then version 4, I believe, if you're using the paid version, will actually take you up to, this is where I believe, April of 2023. Whereas if you're using Google Gemini, it's pulling information in real time from Google. while have been more prompts that ChatGPT has learned from, Google Gemini has a bigger resource of information because it's pulling in real time from the internet, if you will. I also think that Google Gemini is a little bit more intuitive. It's got that power of Google and the Google platform, so it looks a little sleeker. And as you can see here, I actually really like the suggestions that it's popping out and the way that it's giving information. So for example, I had popped in a search parameter that asked about, what information is missing from this resume. And one of the things it caught was that we had mentioned coverage tracking in a resume that I was inputting in. And it suggested, why don't you use media monitoring? Because that's what the job description we're looking at is referring to. So it feels like it's giving a little bit more reasoning behind its recommendations, which I really like. Other tools that are there for job seekers that we're seeing being leveraged a lot more, LinkedIn Premium. If you are using LinkedIn Premium, it has now launched an AI tool where it can help you write your content for your LinkedIn profile. Now, I've tested this out. Is it the most creative content? Is it the most engaging content? Not really. It feels like it is just a quick kind of canned summary of what is in your experience and background. It doesn't really add any additional voice or flavor to it, but it is a nice way to kind of jumpstart the writing process if you're feeling stuck on what to put on your LinkedIn profile. And then one of my other favorite writing tools actually is Grammarly. If you have Grammarly Premium, it has an AI feature that will actually help you improve your text versus what Grammarly historically has been used for is more of like the copy editing, grammar, spelling, punctuation, that kind of thing. Grammarly's writing suggestions I've actually have found to be really on point and can actually really help consolidate and improve the readability of your sentence flow and structure. And what I recommend to clients that use AI in their writing and helping them kind of create content is to layer in different platforms to kind of get the best of all worlds. And I really think that Grammarly is one of the best in terms of helping with the flow of voice and getting that kind of human voice going. If you're going to use an AI system to generate content, this is a great way to help kind of get the flow going. Now, the last one is a little bit different. A lot of times we have clients say to us, gosh, Liz, I don't have a headshot. I don't like taking pictures. I don't have something recent. What can I do to get a professional looking photo? Well, there are AI tools out there like Photo Leap that is an app you can download on your phone. They have a 7-day free trial and then you can pay a subscription fee. But for example, I just grabbed a photo of myself off of my phone and using the free trial, this is what I was able to accomplish. Not too shabby, soften the hair up a little bit. It gave me a kind of a nice background. It gave me a little bit of professional. It's not bad for just a quick, like, hey, this was just a picture on my phone already that I uploaded. I didn't think about it too much. And it took 30 seconds. So there's so many ways that AI tools can help you kind of enhance what you're doing. And this is one of those great features. So let's dig in a little bit more and figure out how to use these platforms and what's going to work well for you and what to be aware of. So the first thing to keep in mind when you're researching and digging into your job search is that AI can be a great tool to help you kind of assess what's going on in a job description. It can help you pinpoint the types of jobs that you should target. One of the things that you can do with an AI is you can take your resume and you can plug it in and say, based on my resume and my skill sets, what are some types of jobs that I should be targeting? And it can actually feed back to you some ideas and say, based on your experience in project management and team leadership, we recommend X, Y, and Z type jobs. And based on your experience with nonprofits or the sciences, we recommend you go in this direction. So it can really take the information and pull and say, okay, what types of things could you be aligned for, and help you uncover different ideas that you can kind of take the trajectory of your career. It can also help you learn about an industry or a type of job. So if you're looking at, say, pursuing a career in in project management, you can prompt AI to ask what are the skills, the things that I need to be learning and growing and doing to become an effective and a qualified project manager. I know that the AI space is growing. What does the industry landscape for AI look like, and where are the most promising arenas to be targeting if you're growing your job search in that arena, as examples. Probably one of my favorite things to do when it comes to researching and analyzing is taking a job description and taking a resume and seeing how do they align with one another. I'll give you some prompts throughout today's presentation to tell you, exactly how you can word that to get really effective answers. But what an AI can do, a ChatGPT or a Gemini, for example, can take that information, can take the job description, read through it, and tell you, okay, where are the words, where are the missing skills and accomplishments on the resume? What do we need to be adding in to layer in that added element to help pass those applicant tracking systems, or the robot automated systems that are reading resumes before humans do? And it can really kind of analyze your job descriptions and your resume and say, okay, how do these connect with one another? And where are you doing well? What skills should you be looking and targeting? And then what do we need to be adding in? And then, of course, building upon that, tailoring your applications, tailoring things like your cover letters, looking and saying, okay, based on this job description, we really need to be moving these parts of your resume around. We need to be changing these skill sets to focus in on the parts of this job description that are really going to make an impact. And maybe we need to take that skill set in sales management, for example, and position it more toward how have you had success with clients and how have you helped that relationship grow, as an example. The other area that is going to really help with kind of your preparation and readiness within your job search is within your interview preparation. One of the great things about AI is that it can kind of think outside of the box for you. It can kind of dig in and say, okay, based on the common interview questions, what are we going to see based on this job description, right? So it can you can prompt it to say, for example, what are the behavioral questions I can expect to be asked based on this job description? And it'll give you a list of different questions that you might be asked and different skill sets that you want to make sure that you're touching on. It can also give you ideas for how to respond. You can have it assess your resume and say, this experience that you've had is really in line with this job, with what this point of the job description is talking about. Make sure you touch on these anchor points, these accomplishments, so that you can make the most of that conversation. And it can get you kind of outside of your head a little bit and to see your experience in a little bit of a different way and act as kind of a neutral, unbiased algorithm to show you, like, hey, what are some strategies and what are the strengths that you actually have that you should be leveraging in those conversations? And then, of course, it can help you optimize responses. Something I've seen clients do also in the past is to actually take their responses. So for instance, the tell me about yourself, your elevator pitch, for example, they'll plug in their written response of what they would say and ask an AI to help them kind of finesse and fine tune that response. So you can actually get, feedback on how you're structuring the response to your questions and kind of use that as a way to finesse and retailer what you are saying. For the rest of our conversation today, we're going to really focus in on kind of leveraging that generative AI tool to, really build content or improve your content and how you are creating content through AI, or using it as that kind of gut check and how you're getting it to respond to you. Because there are a lot of things to keep in mind when it comes to really using an AI system effectively. Before we get into what to do, I want to make sure to touch on what not to do, because there's a lot of ways to use these systems incorrectly or unethically or inefficiently. So first and foremost, do not rely 100% on AI generated content. It's kind of like doing a college assignment and relying on Wikipedia. Like, this information is not foolproof. It has really great concepts. A lot of time it's pointing you in the right direction, but it is not foolproof 100%. And I can promise you that if you plug into an AI and say, create a resume based on these notes, or create a cover letter based on my resume and this job description, it's going to sound like a robot. It will be ignoring the human elements. It will sound like it was created. Oftentimes when we see AI content that has just been cold put out by an AI, you'll see a lot of repetition. You will see language that feels really stiff or overly formal. And it doesn't have that kind of human flow to it. So we want to really be focusing in on, what's the cadence of our human language. And so, yes, it is a wonderful jumping off point, but we need to also remember that it cannot do our jobs for us. Um, as I mentioned before, AI is not fact checking information. Google Gemini tends to be a little bit more reliable because it does pull from internet sources. But as we know, there's a lot of misinformation, false information on the internet. So it's never going to be 100% perfect. For example, if you are to prompt AI to generate a resume, one of the first I've seen over and over and over again is that it will still create an objective statement. And anybody who has talked to Julia or I know that that is the first thing that we get rid of on a resume are objective statements, because what is now more current is the summary statement that outlines why you're effective for the job. So it's going to have some information that is maybe old hat or not the best practice for today. And there are ways, and we're going to talk about prompts to help it teach the AI systems how to perform better, but it won't always be perfect. Another big mistake we see is thinking that AI is going to read the nuance of what we are asking it to do and kind of generalizing the prompts that we give it. I'm going to talk you through how to kind of really amplify your prompts in just a moment. But if you're generalizing your prompts and just saying, hey, create this for me without giving some context to what you're trying to build and why you're trying to build or evaluate or analyze, it's not going to get as effective of a response as if you teach it how to think. Think of AI as kind of being this like big hallway of doors, right? And in every door, it's got a different area of expertise that it could open up. And when you open a door, information can come flooding in, but you have to tell it what doors to open. You have to say, I need you to be an expert in open the door job search strategy. I need you to be an expert in nonprofit career development. I need you to be an expert in, and then it's going to start opening those doors and knowing how to think and what to be pulling from, because you're going to be tapping into the keywords that it'll be looking for. The limitations of AI are pretty big still. AI is in its infancy. It is growing and improving. If you were to look back at the way ChatGPT responded a year ago to what it can do now, it's wild how much it has learned in just the last year or so. Looking at it moving forward, it's going to continue to grow and learn, but it's still an automated system, right? It still can only pull from the things that it knows. So you need to recognize that it's not going to, like I said, read through nuance or understand kind of the between the lines of what you're asking it. So you have to spell everything out. This one is less about the strategy and more of just best practices on the internet. Sensitive information. Do not include in anything you are feeding into an AI, things like your full name, your contact information, your address, because AI systems are storing information to learn. And no, they're not going to share that information outright, but it is still taking information. And if you read through terms and conditions, because we all read through terms and conditions, all of them say that they will store all of that information, including contact information. They won't share the contact information. Like if somebody asked, hey, can you provide me so-and-so's address? They won't provide that. However, that's not to say they can't sell that information off to another organization or what have you. There's a lot of unknowns when it comes to the regulation of AI. As you've probably seen, it's still something that they're trying to figure out how to regulate. And it's still the wild, wild west. So really be thoughtful about the information that you are putting into an AI system and making sure that you're not going to kind of like put information out there that could expose you to risk down the road. All right, so let's talk about how to optimize these prompts. We've talked about what not to do. Let's talk about how you can really dig in and get more specific with what you're sharing and what you're doing with your AI prompts. First and foremost, specificity. So you really want to make sure that you are asking it the right questions to get the most out of the answers. So instead of something like, is my resume aligned with this job description? You might want to try something with a few more words to it. So something to the effect of, what skills, successes, attributes need to be better elevated based on the parameters of the job description. So it's then going to, instead of just looking for aligning with the job description, it's going to be looking for skills, like the keywords, the skills, the successes, the things that you have done throughout your career, your qualities or attributes. And it's going to be scanning that job description to be looking for those things and saying, okay, these are the things that job description is looking for. What else do we need to be saying in your resume? What's missing? What do you have in there that's already working well for you? Oops. Oops. Contextual clarity. So instead of saying something like, what job am I suited for based on my resume? Gosh, that's giving a broad spectrum. You might want to think about adding a little bit more parameter around what is it that you're hoping to do more of. So add some insight that's going to help narrow the response, and add something to the effect of, what roles would I be suited for that would allow me to lead teams and leverage my background in research? So then it's going to pull and say, okay, what types of roles are still going to have some element of research, but having you lead teams? And it's going to then be able to tailor the types of jobs that it's going to suggest for you in that direction. So structural format. So if you, for instance, want it to help you build out your skills section on your resume and to update the skills that you're looking for, tell it, I'm looking for a list of the 9 top skills or the 5 behavioral questions to be prepared for, so that you can get the proper kind of structure for the answers that you're looking for. You might also ask it to, you know, I need you to provide me information and include it in a structure that outlines the skill and a description for that area, or why that is important. So give it some context around how you want the information to come back to you. And then lastly, if you have explicit constraints around the length of the content that you want provided. I mean, these systems can spit out, I think, 4,000 words at a time. So you really want to give it some contents and some constraints around what you need in terms of the length of that content. So for example, suggest LinkedIn headlines with less than 220 characters with spaces, which is the parameters for a LinkedIn headline is 220 characters with spaces. So getting that specific is going to help you kind of narrow down, so you don't have to then, do more work on the other end. The more specific you can get in your prompts, the better the output that you're going to get. All right, so we got to teach AI how to think. I mentioned that idea of kind of opening the doors, right? So I've got some prompts for you that are going to help you kind of teach that AI how to think effectively for you. So it's almost like an XYZ format. The best prompt that you can start any AI conversation with is, I want you to be an expert in recruiting and resume development for insert the type of professional and insert your industry. I will provide you with, and then insert the assets that you're going to provide. And I would like you to, and then insert what you would like AI to do. So I want you to be an expert in blank. I will provide you with blank, and I would like you to blank. And this is if you can teach it, one, how you want it to think, what you're going to provide it, and then what you're going to do together to build, that's going to help get the system to work a little bit more effectively in your favor. Now, you can also get these systems to kind of write or think more effectively for, or in the style of writing that you want. You can get an AI system to emulate a style of writing that you want. So for example, if you're looking at trying to build out a cover letter, you might take one of your previous cover letters and ask it a prompt that goes kind of as what you can do is to ask it to assess the language of an existing document. So you would say, I would like you to be a writing analyst. I will provide you with the content to help you assess the style, tone, structure, transition style, rhythm, and pacing. And then what you want to do is you're going to have it assess it. It'll give you a response. And then what you can do is in ChatGPT, you can actually go and customize how you want your AI to respond. So down in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little like where the setting is. You can say customize ChatGPT. And then there's a little pop-up that says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? You can give it a response around what you're there to talk about. And then where it says, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? You can actually take that response to that analysis that it just gave you about, say, that cover letter, and you can plug it into this piece right here. And that's going to start teaching it how you want the style of writing to really sound. And that's going to help it kind of improve the language that it is giving. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But every little thing you can feed into it is going to help improve what you're getting out of it. All right, so let's go through some additional sample prompts, and then we're going to open up the floor for questions, and we can kind of go into the systems and look and put in some sample prompts and play around with it a little bit. So some additional ideas for things that you can plug in to get some ideas. Of course, you want to start all of these with, I want you to be an X, I will provide you with Y, and we will build Z. So for example, I have an interview for the following job descriptions. What key points from my resume should I discuss? I would also follow that up with in regards to behavioral questions, scenario questions, etc. So thinking through like, what points should I discuss from my resume based on this job description? Review my resume and suggest changes to make it more suitable for the following job description. I am transitioning from role A to role B. What are the transferable skills based on my resume that I should articulate in my cover letter? Okay, so where are the things that are going to be the most relevant? What is the through line between those two types of jobs? What should I be asking for? What should I be looking for and emphasizing in something like a cover letter? I'm looking for a new career path that would allow me to leverage my background in insert skill, but also give me experience doing insert skill. What type of positions do you recommend based on this information and my existing resume? So these are just a few different ways that you can kind of think out of the box and what you are asking ChatGPT or Gemini or any of these systems to kind of help you amplify your job search. All right, so we are going to open up the floor for questions, discussion around generative AI and all other career-related topics. Thank you for joining me today in this discussion around leveraging AI. My name is Liz Helton with Career Transformation Partners. If you are watching this on the replay, make sure to click the link below to sign up for a future Just Ask Julia session, and we look forward to seeing you at a future time. Thanks.